Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 2. I'm Matthew Talon.
And I am Daniel John Schaefer. We are Mouth of the Mark.
And this is A Week in Wrestling. We'll start this off with results for the past week in WWE. We'll open with Monday Night Raw. What was your thoughts overall on Monday Night Raw as an entire show before we get into the individual matches?
I thought that Stardust Cena was really good. I thought it was a really good match. And that was pretty much it. Like, I felt like everything else, like, they like rushed to get all the other little baby angles in, and then it was like the main number one contender thing was pretty much the entire show because everybody worked, all the baby faces worked twice, you know what I mean? And they worked the classic authority goons, Kane, Big Show. And it's just like, I don't know. I understand it. Like, I feel like even inside the company, they were just kind of like, well, we have to put a Raw out this week, of course. Like, we might as well set up some stuff for Extreme Rules, but we know that a lot of our workers are gonna, be with their family. So it's like, I get why they did it. It just felt rushed, and to me, it's like, I know they filmed Smackdowns on Tuesdays, so it was like, well, Tuesday was a better show. Maybe you got more people back, like that one day after Easter or whatever. But I don't know. Like, my overall of Raw was a C+.
I was pretty much in the same mindset, except I'm going to disagree with you on Stardust and Cena being the highlight of the night. For me, Neville and Rollins, man. Neville and Rollins all day. It happened right after Orton Kane. And
Okay. Yeah. That was a great match too. For some reason, I thought that was on SmackDown. I don't know why, but Axel worked Neville on SmackDown. So sorry. Yeah. So I guess with that, well, I don't know. I'd still give it a C+ because two good matches on a card to me.
Right. I'm not changing the overall grade of the show because it was an average. And when I say average, I'm being lenient here. It was an average Raw at best. Orton and Kane was as close to disastrous as you can get. I don't understand the disqualification ending with that. I don't understand the chair. I mean, I guess if you want to weaken Orton, but if you're wanting to weaken Orton, why did Orton stand tall at the end? Is it only because he's going into the triple threat match later? I mean, you have to pick which angle you're going to work. Are you going to work a beaten down Orton, or are you going to work, Orton standing tall? Because the two don't mix and they don't make sense to go half and half.
But I do like the fact that, because we complained on last week's show about how they just squashed Stardust right after Mania, and then they did the same thing to R-Truth on SmackDown the next night. And that kind of makes me feel like R-Truth is probably going to get a decent amount of minutes with Daniel Bryan, since Daniel Bryan kind of said that he's wanting to defend his title every week too. But dude, the Stardust Cena match was like pleasantly surprised. Like, and I heard what you said about like, I know you used the Crossroads and Cody's coming back. Dude, I really think that they're going to milk this Stardust gimmick for like probably another year. Maybe Cody Rhodes back at WrestleMania 32, but I think that they're going to keep Stardust going for a while. And I like Stardust. I like the Stardust gimmick.
I love Stardust as a character. And when I say Cody Rhodes is coming back, I don't mean it because, like, I want Cody Rhodes back. You know what I mean? Like, he's a great worker no matter what persona he is. And, right. I mean, I'm sorry, but when you're Dusty Rhodes' son, that kind of happens. You know what I mean? Like, you can't not be a good worker if you're Dusty's kid. And I was honestly surprised by this match because after last week, I thought Stardust was just going to get squashed by Cena. But you know what? It was a good match. Both guys, and I know I'm going to get some hate for saying this, but both guys worked pretty well. I don't like Cena doing that springboard stunner all the time. Once or twice here and there is kind of cool, but I don't want it to become a staple of his. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I know he mentioned it on Jericho's podcast later that we can't call it the springboard stunner. It's got to be a springboard neck breaker variation or something like that. But it was a good match, and I like what Cena's doing, or what the company is doing with Cena. They're having him defend the title every week. It gets more defenses under the U.S. title, and it gives it a bit more of a line of credibility to whoever's holding it. I think more eyes on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree. I think that they are doing a good job pushing both of the secondary titles. I think it was a great move to go. I mean, like I said, last week too, WrestleMania 31 to me was far better than WrestleMania 30, far better than a lot of WrestleManias we've had in a long time. And I feel like it was because it was a good payoff for WrestleMania, but it would also set up so many long-term storylines. And I know like the IWC and all of us have been like, we need a program to last more than just one pay-per-view. And I agree. Like, it needs to be longer. It needs that, like, that to me, like, dude, look at Austin McMahon. That was the hottest time in wrestling. And that feud lasted for like 3 years. You know what I mean? Like, you have to keep it going. You know what I mean?
But people are fickle about that because, 1 minute they're crying, we need storylines that go longer than 1 month or 2 months. But look at the authority angle what they were doing with Daniel Bryan. The big payoff for Daniel Bryan was WrestleMania 30. But people were crying that the authority was burying him. Guys, it's part of the angle. Like, it's the work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you can't have it both ways. You can't cry for the longer payoffs, but bitch on the road to the payoff. Does that make sense?
No, I agree. Yeah, I totally agree. I had no problem with them burying Daniel Bryan. Like, to me, maybe I'm just a weirdo, dude. I know I said that about CM Punk last week, how I never thought he was really the best in the world. Like, I never really, like, I know that Daniel Bryan's over. He's a great worker. His kicks are great. He's a stiff guy. I like his work. But to me, I mean, as super cliche as it sounds, he's a B-plus guy. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, he's not, to me, like, he's got great work. He has great matches. If he's got a great dance partner, and he can carry not good workers. He's a great worker. He's pretty good on the mic because he's really sincere. You can tell that's really who he is. And it's not like he's a good, like, he's not clever and witty on the mic, but he's just, like, really true and honest. He's a great baby face. I get it. But it's like a perfect example is, like, to me growing up, like, I was way more into Flair than I was into Steamboat. I could recognize that Steamboat was a great worker, but to me, he was never as good as Flair. And it's the same thing with Daniel Bryan. Like, even when he's a heel, he's hokey, and I don't really like it. He's got to be a baby face. But when he is a baby face, it's like his work is great, but it's never been main event to me. It never has been to me.
The only argument I have for that is that main event guys have never, I can't say never, but in this era, main event workers haven't been the best workers.
Yeah.
I mean, Cena's been the main guy for 12 years.
Yeah.
That's
good. That's a really good point.
And there's so many other workers that have been in this company that have been second fiddle to Cena. And it happens. I'm not bitching and complaining, but I disagree where you say Bryan isn't a main guy, because I saw the wave of WrestleMania 30, and I saw how that angle paid off, and I saw the wave of momentum that he had.
Yeah. All right. Let me rephrase that then. He is a main guy. He's a main babyface guy. But to me, the best worker can't be a babyface. You can't be the best worker and be a babyface. To me, you just can't. Like, to me, the best worker is the top heel always. To me, that's why all my favorite stuff of Shawn's was all of his heel stuff in '97. And then when he was a cheap heel in the early 90s in the IC title, that to me was when he was the best worker of all time. Like Ric Flair, when he was a heel, NWA, like those days, he was the best. He was the best. Like, you have to be the heel. Like, and even Austin, like when Austin worked, he worked like a heel. That was just the late 90s when being a heel was the biggest thing ever. Being an asshole was the best ever. Like, he was always pretty much worked as a heel. Like, even though he was getting cheered and he was like, the superstar, it wasn't like Hulk Hogan before him where he was a super good babyface. And like, that's why I think more people give Hogan credit for his matches when he was Hollywood Hogan, because he was a heel. Roddy Piper was at his best when he was a heel. So to me, it's like, yeah, Daniel Bryan's a main event guy, but he's not the best worker in the company to me, because he doesn't work as a heel.
I can see that. I would only argue that if he was a face, and he is one of the top two workers, you counterbalance him with a heel Dolph Ziggler or your heel Seth Rollins.
Absolutely. The Daniel Bryan, Seth Rollins matches that will come, maybe not even this year, but at some point, those are going to be phenomenal. I'm talking like Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels level amazing.
Right. But we're talking about further angles. One person who won't be involved in further angles, AJ Lee. AJ announced her retirement after Mania, And it looks like Naomi's taking her place. Naomi's been teaming with Paige against the Bellas, and she's been racking up the wins. What are your thoughts on Naomi's place now on the roster with the absence of AJ?
I like Naomi. I think she's a good worker. I think that she could be like, I think that she's still really green, but not necessarily in a ring way, but in a character way. Like her in-ring work is pretty solid. It's just that her character, she still just kind of seems like, I'm just happy to be here. You know what I mean? And it's like I would like her to see her take on more of a Lita-esque role with the Usos. You know what I'm saying? Like get involved, do some high-flying stuff, like get better. You know what I mean? Like and then break off on your own and maybe turn heel like Lita did. I mean, at one point, Lita and Trish was the hottest angle, period, above the world title. I mean, it was the best, and they were great matches, good work. Like that's the thing too. Like I down the Divas division a lot, and like I know that we have like a lot of female marks that are on here that watch our stuff, and they're like, "Oh, you're sexist." Like, dude, no, not at all. Like, I love the NXT workers when they get time and they don't give them like 3-minute matches on Raw. I like it when they can build a story and make it work. But when it's a spot fest and they're not that good of workers yet because they're just bringing up pretty faces and not great workers, then you have subpar workers trying to cram in a spot monkey match that they don't pull off, and it's awful. I mean, it's not even watchable. I mean, for the past 2 years, up until Paige kind of crossed over with NXT and AJ holding the title, like before AJ had that long title run with the Divas Championship, I would that was my piss break with the women's matches. Like, I mean, it was that bad. And it's not like because of the women, it's because of the writing, it's because of how they treat the divas. Like, I mean, I'm all about it. Like, I know for a fact, like, I mean, SummerSlam, Stephanie McMahon, Brie Bella, that was an angle that was hot. I loved it. I was stoked for that match. Like, it's you can still do it with the women's division. You just don't. Like, you don't give them enough time. You would rather send out guys to work like Ryback and give him a push. Like, cut Ryback off. Dude, fire that guy. Get rid of him. All the minutes that you give him, add that on top of the divas, and people will care more. You'll sell more merch. You can do more outside, like, with public relations and like press and that kind of thing with divas than you could do with one worker anyway. Like, I mean, I know they're doing that with the E show, but to me, the E show almost devalues them as workers because it's like, oh, well, I just watch them in their little soap opera and it doesn't really matter what they do in the ring, which sucks. You know what I mean? Like,
I wish that they would give them more time because that's what it comes down to. That's what it's always come down to. It comes down to them not having enough time on TV. When you give them let's say you give them a 10-minute match, but a minute in, you go to a 3-minute commercial break. That's 4 minutes gone. You know what I mean? That's 4 minutes of that 10-minute match that you just wasted not on TV. So your 10-minute match turns into a 5-minute match, which turns into your spot fest, which turns into unwatchable. However, it is nice to say that the Divas match was not the snooze fest or the piss break of Monday Night Raw this week. Ryback versus Luke Harper was the snooze fest, which is depressing to me because I love Luke Harper's work, and he's usually able to carry other big guys into good matches. This was just a squash match for Ryback to get to the triple threat match, and I hated that.
Why?
I would have loved to see him get a little more time.
I know he's big, and like I don't hate the character. Like that's the thing. Like this isn't like him getting heat. They should turn him heel. Like he's a good worker. I just don't. I hate the guy. It's like no, dude. Like. He's a shit worker. I don't like him as a worker. His character's okay. You can put that gimmick on somebody else that was better. He himself is not a good worker and should not even be wrestling, period, to me. If he is, it should be wherever he's from, locally, at best. Like he should be a bouncer or he should go to MMA or he should – I don't wish the guy poorly. He just sucks as a professional wrestler. I don't hate the guy as a human being. I know he's trying his best. He's just not cut out for it, period.
I have a love-hate relationship with Ryback. I was really, as a fan, not as a mark, As a fan, I was really behind that wave when Punk was heel and Ryback was the face coming in as the big powerhouse. I was a fan. I liked the angle. I liked that wave of momentum as a fan, not as a mark who's like, man, this guy can't work, this or that. Just for the fan value, I liked it. And when they took their foot off the gas, I was like, okay, well, this guy's done. And then they turn him heel. They let him go away for a little while. Then they bring him back as a face. And it's like they're trying to pick up where they left off during Punk's reign, and it's just not getting traction.
And you don't need to. You don't need to. You have better workers that are already over. Like, dude, the arena for SmackDown, the arena was chanting NXT for Neville. It wasn't just like a few, like a smart area. Like, the arena was chanting NXT, dude. Like, so people are already over on these guys. They're better workers. They're better characters. And you're continuing to push Ryback just because he's huge. Like, it's like the old Vince McMahon thing. Like, we're going to push Batista just because he's huge. Like, Batista got better with time and then got worse again. But, like, Ryback at best will be Batista. And my question is why? You don't need a guy like Batista. You don't. Like, Sheamus is that overly, oh, I'm going to pick on the little guy now. And that's fine because he's a good worker. You know what I mean? Like, you already have that guy. You don't need a huge powerhouse babyface because guess who that guy is? The same guy it's been for the past 15 years in John Cena. You don't need a huge powerhouse babyface. You don't. Why are you continuing to push him? It doesn't make any sense.
There are more than enough large babyfaces, but forget Cena for now. You have Roman Reigns that you've been trying to push to the moon and back. Why do you need Ryback in that position when you've got your Roman Reigns that has already been dubbed the company guy to take Cena's place? You know what I mean? So I understand. My best guess is that Ryback is filler for now. You know, I would have liked to have seen a heel in that triple threat match just to give it a dynamic of possibly a heel working against Rollins.
Yeah, but I mean, why? Rollins is the biggest heel. I don't mind them putting all baby faces in it. I mean, Rollins is the biggest heel going right now, and that's awesome. Like, I love everything about it. I mean, the problem is like, who's your two heel? You know, I mean, who is it?
Turned Orton face.
Barrett, maybe.
You turned Orton face. So what do you do?
Well, they're trying to make Sheamus the two heel, and that might work, but I don't know, man. You have so many baby faces right now. To me, I mean, I feel like there was a while there where it was like you had way too many heels, and now you have like why is Dolph Ziggler still a face? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. Like, why doesn't he just, like, not necessarily be authority style, but, like, why doesn't he just turn heel and beat the crap out of Daniel Bryan and just have a long program with him? That would be awesome. I'd be all about that. Or turn Dean Ambrose heel. That'd be cool, too.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see either of those come into play after these current angles are finished.
I didn't lump Bray Wyatt in that heel thing because, to me, Bray Wyatt is a character and a persona all to his own. Like, to me, he's not a heel, he's not a face, he's not a tweener, he's Bray Wyatt. Like, there's just, he is the new Undertaker. Like, the Undertaker was pretty much, I mean, he went through times babyface, times through where he was a heel, definite babyface, but for the most part, he's always just the Undertaker. You know what I mean? Like, Bray Wyatt is that guy now. So, like, I didn't, like, before the marks kill me in the comments, I wasn't leaving out Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt, to me, is the number one Bray Wyatt. There's no other guy like him. He's his own thing, and that's awesome.
Agreed. No matter what he does, it's going to be money. He's going to get cheered. He's going to get booed. It's going to be both. He's just an entity on his own. We had the Lucha Dragons go against the New Day, and I have to admit that I liked the New Day little segment before their match where they're kind of explaining why they clap, all that stuff.
Yeah.
It was a cheesy thing, but it explains why they do it, gives it credibility, and when the heel turn comes, there's a reason behind it, and that's been missing a lot.
I mean, the heel turns here. It was a natural thing, and after that promo, and after SmackDown too, it's like, yeah, they're heels now, and it's cool. I mean, I like it better as heels. I mean, it's still pretty goofy, but that's okay. Like, it reminds me of like early '90s heels that were a little over the top with their cheese, but it's okay. Like that, I don't mind.
It's not right to censor cheesy, okay?
No, it's not right to censor cheesy, but it is Money Incorporated cheesy.
Okay, I'll give you Money Incorporated. But I'm interested though. Like now with a possible heel, not with a possible heel turn, but with a heel turn for the New Day, it gives a reason for more than just the happy-go-lucky faces who are clapping. There's aggression, there's anger behind the clapping. So it gives you credibility and it gives you a plethora of information and a plethora of emotion to pull from. And it'll just get, I think it'll get people invested. I think they'll be a million times more over as heels than as faces. Because now at least they're getting chanted.
I hope, I don't think this is what they're going to do, but I would hope that it would become more of Woods and Big E is the tag team and Kofi is the singles guy, but it looks like it's probably going to end up being just Big E and Kofi as a tag team. It sucks. Like, I feel like they could totally pull off, like, you know, a heel, kind of goofy heel thing with Big E and Woods as the tag team against, you know, a tag team that eventually wins the titles, the baby faces like Lucha Dragons or the Usos again or whatever, and then kind of have Kofi maybe throw in the IC title mix. We talked about him working heel against Daniel Bryan. I mean, I'm going to keep talking about it, so maybe somebody will listen to it because I feel like every time we do say something that we say ends up happening. So
Roman Reigns and Big Show again.
Why?
Again.
I have a feeling they're going to do that at a pay-per-view too.
Again.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times I can say this. Again. We do not need this. Again. I'm so frustrated with this because I want Roman Reigns to shine. He had a wave of bad heat going into Mania because of how fast the push is, but I want him to shine. I want him to have a good career. Putting him against Big Show is not the way to do it. You had him at Fastlane with Daniel Bryan, one of the best workers in the company. You put him in WrestleMania with Brock Lesnar, another good worker in the company. And you turn around and you put him with Big Show. And he's probably going to work Big Show at Extreme Rules.
Yeah.
Why?
Because Big Show won the Jobber Battle Royal. And, you know, now that means something.
But like, and maybe because there isn't a number 2 heel. Maybe because there isn't someone under Seth Rollins right now. And you want Orton to go against Rollins. Maybe that's the reason why. But if that's the reason why, do they really consider Big Show their number 2 heel? And if they do, that is disastrous.
Yeah, I agree. Don't get me wrong. I'm not like Show should retire. I don't mind watching Show, but I am already really tired of him being the authority gimmick. Like, I don't mind him being a heel. I'm fine with that. But I don't know. They need to do something else with him for sure.
Jim Ross said it best. WWE ruined Big Show. Overexposure. He should have been protected. He should be the badass who comes in, knocks people out, and leaves.
Yeah.
And that is it. They overexposed a main event attraction, and they ruined a character. And now at the end of his career, I say the end, it's the tail end of his career, he's really going to hear it, and he's really going to suffer for it. Face or heel. It doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah. Well, I mean, honestly, though, even if they cut him off TV for, like, 2 or 3 months and, like, brought him back and have him, like, destroy a babyface so he's a heel right away and then have, like, kind of Rollins pat him on the back and then him destroy Rollins and just be, like, I'm my own loner heel and then only use him the way they use, like, Brock Lesnar, then they could probably get another 2 or 3 years out of him at a very, very, very high level. You know what I mean? Like, or as far as, like, payoff, I mean. Like, you know what I mean? Because his work isn't terrible. Right. He's not a bad worker. Like,
he's one of the better big guys I've seen. And it amazes me how a guy that big is so mobile. Because he moves and he dives around like he's, 300 pounds. Like, and he's not.
Yeah. Yeah.
Somebody else who moves around okay for a big guy, Mark Henry came back against Sheamus. And Mark lost some weight again. And it's like every time we see Mark on TV, he's just getting smaller and smaller. I knew what it was as soon as Mark came out. When Mark came out, I was like, oh, squash match for Sheamus, which it ended up being. How invested in Sheamus are you right now?
I like it. I feel like people are not really into it, but I like him as a heel. And as far as the Mark Henry thing goes, like, I don't know if you watched like the pre-show of the Hall of Fame, but when he came up with his son and he was talking, and he was like, he literally said, former pro wrestlers like myself, want to be here. So I feel like, I think and if I remember correctly, he signed for 3 more years. Remember, like, a few years ago on Raw when he came out and had the dread still, and he had been a heel at the time, and he came out and he cried, and, like, everyone thought he was going to retire because his contract was up. He's like, I'm not going anywhere. You know what I mean? Like, and he did the big swerve, and it was amazing. Like, that was the most invested I ever have been in Mark Henry, and it was awesome. I remember like getting like on like I think it was ProWrestling.net or something like that, and I saw that is like another 3-year contract, and I'm pretty sure that was 2012 when that happened. So I'm pretty sure at this point he's working out his dates until SummerSlam. I don't know if they're going to give him a program. It doesn't look like it, but I don't think he cares. I think I mean, I wouldn't be surprised honestly if they throw him down in NXT for a little bit just to work Owens, maybe after Rhino's run is done. That would be kind of cool, and just kind of have him go out from there, just give some rubs to some younger guys. But, I mean, I don't know. I think that at this point he's like, I'm collecting my paycheck. I'm kind of saying my goodbyes to the boys in the back slowly but surely. And, when I'm done, I'm done. And, he's going to be a first ballot guy too, I mean, people may not like him. I know a lot of people still never got into Mark Henry. But I think he should be like, if he goes in the Hall of Fame, it should be under like most improved worker of all time. Like from the time he started until now, like he got so much better over time and became like – went from maybe being a curtain jerker at best to being a main event, believable world title holder. Like, I don't know. I like Mark Henry a lot. But then again, back to Sheamus, like I like what he's doing. I like that he's, this heel that does not care at all what the people think. Like, I like heel Sheamus. I think that they're not necessarily doing it the best way they possibly could, but I think that they're doing their best with the time they're given and try not to bury Daniel Bryan too much. You know what I mean?
Right. And I agree. I feel like Sheamus is doing what Big Show should be doing. Come in, don't give a damn, beat up people, and leave. I like it. And Sheamus has the backing that he's Irish. You know what I mean? Right. Irish boys do that. They come in, they beat somebody's ass, and they leave. And then they go drink. I like it. I really think that after he's done with – because I think he's going to go over Dolph. I think you can't bring Sheamus as a heel and let him fall. So I think Sheamus is going to go over Dolph, and then I think Sheamus is going to move forward and be Reigns' next opponent. That's just me. That's just what I think is going to happen.
I think he's going to go to Cena. I think they're going to do something different with Reigns. I don't know yet, but I think they're going to go to Cena. And I know I can feel it happening that they're going to turn Kane face and he's going to leave the Authority. And it's like, why? Kane face though? Like, ugh.
I can see that happening, but I can't see – I don't know why they'd put him face again. I would almost say leave him heel and just have him break away. But we'll see what happens with Kane as the weeks progress. It'll be interesting to see what the Authority does when they get back. When Triple H and Stephanie get back on TV. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how the segments play out on Monday. My next what the fuck moment from Raw is, why in the blue hell did we have Miz versus Mizdow on Raw? Yeah,
dude, I completely agree. Terrible, terrible idea. You should have at least put them in some kind of tag situation, or like, why would you give us a one-on-one match? Oh my god, why? Why would you do that?
Okay, Jim Ross always talks about how false finishes they have no meaning anymore because they're used so often, right? We know that. We listen to – okay. So this is one instant where I would say give it a false finish. Give it a DQ. Give it a count out. Give it a walkout. Give it something so we don't – why did Miz go over? Did Miz go over? Give it a false. Give it something to make it extend. Let it be false, and then up until Extreme Rules, tease it. And then at Extreme Rules, it happens.
Yeah.
I don't understand. I've never understood why WWE does some things, and this is one thing that has enough steam behind it that it could be a top 3 at a pay-per-view, I'd say. I wouldn't say 1 or 2, but the number 3, possibly.
I'd still say about 5 at best, man. I still think they're maybe the second or third match at best. But honestly, it's like – and my thing is too, like, how long is he gonna keep Mizdow as the last name? Like, he needs to cut a promo on Raw and get rid of that before Extreme Rules to me. Like, and he needs to go back to his own gear or whatever. Like, I know they're not gonna do that, and he's gonna wear Miz gear and all that stuff, at least through Extreme Rules. And honestly, I got a good feeling they're gonna put Miz over on him at Extreme Rules too.
I hope not. I really hope not. But again, I can see them doing it. But we'll see, I suppose. Main event was Orton, Reigns, and Ryback, which we knew that from the first hour. I feel like you really could have just watched the first 20 minutes of Raw for the promo and then done whatever for 2 hours and then watched the last 15 minutes, if that, of Raw to catch this. The work was just super fast, man. Like they didn't give them any time at all. It was literally just a slugfest, and not in a good way.
Yeah.
It was a slugfest from the minute the bell rang to the minute the Authority came out to when Reigns got knocked out by Big Show to, Orton getting the pin. The only good thing about this was that Rollins looked strong in the end because Rollins got the curb stomp on Orton. So Rollins has some more credibility to him, more than just running away and hiding with the title. He looks like he can hang.
Yeah, and I mean, and that's what I like about him too. And I said that too. Like, it's not just that he's a weasel that he runs away. It's like when there is contact, I mean, he beats ass. Like, he's not just a heel that's conniving, that takes all the bumps and doesn't get much offense. Like, kind of like 2001, the first ever undisputed champion Chris Jericho was. Like, he didn't really. All the offense that he got on that Triple H feud was like really small, wasn't really very many big spots. Triple H kind of was like the beat up guy and he ran away a lot. You know what I mean? I mean, the WrestleMania match was good and he actually got offense in that one, but like, you know what I mean? Like Rollins, like when he does have a match, like, I don't know. I mean, it's always good, man. He's golden. He's always good to me. Like there's just, I can't find a Rollins match ever, including NXT stuff and including the Tyler Black stuff, that like, this was a bad match. Like, I can't find one. Not one. Like, he's the guy to me. He's the best worker in pro wrestling to me right now, period.
I haven't seen a bad Seth Rollins or Tyler Black match. So I agree with you on that point. That was it for Raw. NXT was a replay of WrestleMania week, which showed the NXT tournament. Overall, what were your thoughts on the tournament? Were you good with Hideo going over? Did you want Balor to go over?
Well, I mean, we all knew because it was that. I mean, it's almost 2 weeks after Mania now. So like, we know what like, we know that Hideo was going to be in it anyway. So you already expected that. I felt like the first Hideo match with Neville was pretty good. They gave it time, and Neville worked heel, which was pretty cool. Like, he was heel to the crowd and everything. It was awesome. Like. That kind of gives me some hope for him as a heel in the WWE. I think that would be cool too. I think that the coolest spot in that match was the reversal from the GTS. Neville goes to the corner. That super kick that he gave Hideo was phenomenal. It was beautiful. He kicked his teeth in, dude. It was awesome. I loved it. A+ match for me for that one. But the thing that I didn't like was that Hideo pretty much recycled the exact same spots in the Balor match for the main event. Like the exact same spots. Like the tornado slingshot thing into the miss, into the GTS reversal. Like, I don't know. And then the fact that they didn't give us the GTS finish there, but then they show this fluff piece for Hideo and then they show the GTS on the fluff piece, which to me was stupid for a payoff, but whatever. And then why? Like I didn't mind the Hideo feel good like fluffer thing the last 15 minutes of NXT. I didn't mind that at all, but I don't understand why you would do that for that guy and you didn't do that for Neville, and he's already on the main roster working every week. You know what I mean? Like, why didn't you give him even a 5-minute vignette type send off? A few weeks ago on NXT. You know what I mean? Like, why are you pushing Hideo and then you stomp him at WrestleMania and we haven't seen him on the main roster since then? You know what I mean? Like. That doesn't make sense to me. Right.
I'm almost in agreement with all of that. And I understand what you're saying where we already knew. I guess what I more mean is that would you have rathered if Balor would have won and if Balor would have went to Mania? I would have liked to have seen Balor. I would have, I was fine with any of the 4 being in there. It didn't matter to me from Jump Street.
Yeah, I can see them, and I do feel like the breeze to the main roster is coming sooner than later.
I can agree with that. I would look forward to Tyler Breeze being on the main roster. And like you said last week, be on a tag team with someone like Fandango or something similar where they're
or
just,
even Adam Rose.
yeah, just something where they're full of themselves. You know, like do you remember Deuce and Domino?
Yeah.
Like that. You know what I mean? But not like Grease style, but like just full of themselves.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely, man. Or like like Roddy Piper and Orton, Cowboy Bob Orton. You know what I mean? Like they were just so cocky. Like I mean, all of their, and that's old school. Like I mean,
right.
Even like and to me, it would be the best with Fandango because they could work it where it's like they're so cocky and so overconfident, and they cut this promo on someone, and then they walk away and they laugh at them. You know, it's like they don't realize that they're a joke. You know what I mean? Like. Right. I think that would be great, dude. And their work, and then if you had them in a decent program as a tag team, at a payoff at like a pay-per-view, they actually do get pissed and realize that like people think they suck, and like they just become like a really aggressive, cocky team. I don't know. I feel like Fandango and Tyler Breeze would be an amazing tag team and would be the way to go for sure. Like a money shot spin wheel kick into that big drop, top rope leg drop. As a finish would be awesome. Like simultaneous, you know what I mean? Like Breeze hits the ropes, Fandango tags in, Breeze hits the money shot, and then right as soon as he hits it, Fandango hits it off the top rope, and 1, 2, 3. That's an awesome finish to me.
Yeah, that's a cool sequential spot. Moving on to SmackDown, though, we were talking about the New Day's heel turn moving forward. They were pretty much heel working Cesaro and Kid on SmackDown.
Yeah, they were. I mean, and I liked it. The facial expressions from Kofi as a heel, I've never seen them before, and they were awesome. Like it almost gives me like, dude, you should have gone heel a few years ago when you had more steam, and you would probably be higher up. You know what I mean? Sometimes I just feel like heel work can really, really show what a guy can do, and you're just so pigeonholed by taking a lot of bumps as a babyface and not giving a lot of bumps that like. It's really hard to be super, super huge in a babyface and work as a babyface. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's a problem that I've seen with the babyfaces of this era is that there's really no offensive giving bumps until you get your comeback, you get your signatures, and you get your spots, and then it's over. And there's no working spots. You're taking bumps, but you're not giving working bumps. So yeah.
It's very Memphis right now. It's very, very Memphis. Like you start a match off chain wrestling, the babyface gets a little bit of shine, then the entire match is just, and then, the heel cut him off cheap, and then he'll get a bunch of heat, hold him down in a reverse chin lock. You might get a few hope spots and then back to a reverse chin lock, and then a big reversal, a comeback, and either the heel cuts him off and screws him and he loses, or the babyface hits his finisher and goes over clean. That's almost every mid-card WWE match, almost all of them.
We're not even to the mid-card yet because Neville faced Curtis Axel. I like that Neville's on TV, but if you face Seth Rollins on Raw and you turn around and you face Curtis Axel on SmackDown, I feel like it's a super step down, but at least he won. I mean, I get the reason for it because he needed a win.
Dude, I love Curtis Axel, man. I love his gimmick, and to me, like, it made sense, and it didn't feel like a step down because it felt like Axel's out there running his mouth, and Neville's going to come shut it. You see what I'm saying? So to me, it wasn't like, oh, they're stepping him down and making him work with Axel. It was like Neville steps up because Axel's being so outlandish. Like, I love it, dude. I feel like this is a gimmick that can actually work for him forever. Like, he should just keep this going at least till the next Royal Rumble. And then, like, maybe if they're really smart, they screw him again at the Royal Rumble and just keep this, like, Axel Mania thing going. I love everything about it, dude. I love everything about Axel Mania. Christian.
Like, not one more match, Christian.
But I love it, dude. I mean, I love it. I think that it's awesome, and I want him to lose every time, every single match. Like, like honestly, like that's. I mean, but I love it. I love him. I love the gimmick. Like, I feel like he should maybe even whine his way into a few title opportunities and just lose every time. Like, lose clean every time. Like, get beat in the middle of the ring, 1, 2, 3, or tap out every single time. But just keep giving him minutes on TV. Keep giving him a live promo in the ring. Don't change the channel every time, every week. I would love that.
Just keep booking him. Just like have him answer Cena's U.S. title challenge like 2 or 3 weeks in a row and just get squashed every time or some stupid shit like that.
Yeah.
Just to give him some minutes on TV, put Cena over, whatever.
Yeah, I love it, man. I love it. And Neville, Neville's dude, his work is supreme. That coming out of the corner, that like the Irish whip out of the corner into the multi front flips, dude. That's always awesome. The red arrow was perfect this time. It was kind of shaky on Monday. It was perfect. Dude, that guy is. I mean, the sky's the limit for him. I would like to see a babyface Neville in some Rollins matches that I feel like that are coming eventually. Not just the one they had on Raw, but like a program. Probably after Rollins has the title, but probably after he loses it. But either way, I'm excited about it, man. I thought that SmackDown totally was a better show. But okay, so in the very opening though, we had that like Bryan promo, and then out comes Sheamus, then out comes Barrett, then out comes Ziggler, then out comes it's like I was like my immediate reaction was watching SmackDown. I was like, is Teddy Long back? Is Teddy Long about to come down here and like and give us a 6-man tag? And that's exactly what happened. So yeah, I affectionately call the main event of this week's SmackDown the Teddy Long Classic.
For every tag team main event will now be called the Teddy Long Classic.
Yes, every 6-man tag will be the Teddy Long Classic.
There is no option.
No,
it's a tag team match, player.
We'll have to remember that for every single show, even when they do like Survivor Series and they have it all in there.
No, it's no longer the Survivor Series main event where it's the best of it's the 5-on-5. It's not the Survivor Series Classic anymore. It is the Teddy Long Classic.
Yes.
Period.
Yes. Holla.
We talked about the Divas doing okay. How did you feel about Natalya and Alicia Fox? Was it anything more than filler?
No, not really. I felt like it was. Like, first of all, I don't want to, like, this goes back to my whole spiel about divas and how terribly they're using them. Like, why are all these divas super stoked about a battle royal? Like, and I don't know, man. Like, the Alicia Fox thing, I made some notes here, and I felt like it was just so rushed, and it felt unnecessary. Like, I gave that match an F, not because of the workers, but because, like,
the booking.
The booking was so bad. Like, dude, I gave this match, like, first of all, the promo going into it and then knowing we're going to get a match and have Naomi as the guest referee, I gave, like, the biggest troll face ever watching it, dude. I was just, like,
Cameron was the ref, wasn't she? I didn't think it was Naomi.
No, it was
Cameron.
Cameron, yeah, it was Cameron. Cameron is the guest ref. And, dude, Cameron is a terrible worker. So it was, like, this super rush, like...
Count it.
This super rush, like, 3-minute match. And, like, it hurt me, dude. It hurt me so bad. Like, why are they having Natty work as a heel valet with Kid and Cesaro, but work babyface in her Divas match the same night? It was so dumb. Like, all of it.
Bad,
F, dude. F. And like, the matches it was clumsy. Alicia Fox took some weird bumps. And, like, the sharpshooter pin ending, I'm fine with that. But then having, like, Cameron hit 2 clumsy-ass, terrible DDTs. Like, I know they're building for the Battle Royal, but it's like, ugh. Like, none of them are going to win. Not any 3 of those girls are going to win that Battle Royal. Like, it's going to be Naomi, or it's going to be Paige, or it's going to be, it might be Brie, Like, I mean, I don't know.
I wouldn't mind seeing Brie win because I didn't think I would. I hated the build. I think Nikki is a terrible actress in terms of delivering promos, but Nikki versus Brie was good work. Like, that match, I liked. I actually would borderline say that I loved is a strong word, but I liked that match a lot. I'll go with that because loved is a strong word.
Yeah, I mean, the Nikki Brie stuff is good because I feel like they are truly twins, and it's like, they kind of lean a little bit on each side. Like, to me, Nikki is a better actual worker, but she's not as good on the mic. And to me, Brie's really, really good on the mic. And she's not a bad worker, but she's not as good as her sister to me. So, I don't know. I feel like them together in an angle is always really good. But I see that, like, the WWE sees that them together as a package is, like, a perfect diva in one. You know what I mean? So, like, I get it. And it makes sense for them to keep them together. So, I don't think Brie will probably go over. Maybe they bring up Charlotte. Maybe Charlotte goes over in the Battle Royal. That would be cool. Nikki Bella versus Charlotte for the Divas title would be a good match. I would want to see at a pay-per-view, Like,
yep.
But who knows?
What'd you think about Bray Wyatt versus Eric Rowan?
Why? Like, all right, another thing is, like Eric Rowan. All right, first of all, you keep Bray off TV. right after his amazing match with Taker, and then you bring him out to stay the face of fear a week and a half later, technically, and you do this big vignette about Eric Rowan like we forgot that he was in the Wyatts. Dude, look at their ring gear. Even if you just started watching wrestling, you would know that they had something to do with each other at some point. Like, that was dumb, a waste of time to me. And then, like, not only did, like, they put him over on Rowan, but they made it a close match. Like, it should have been a squash. It's Bray Wyatt. He just lost to The Undertaker, and he's supposed to be the new face of fear, and it's a long match that he barely goes over on Rowan. Like, that to me is like, oh, we're going to continue to try to use Rowan. Why? Rowan should be gone to me. Luke Harper is the guy they should keep. Rowan and Ryback need to get their papers and go, to me. I think that Rowan is, it's not that he's a terrible worker, but he's awful on the mic. You're already going to have to repackage Luke Harper, so it wouldn't make sense to repackage them both and not put them together. Now, if they do that and put them back together, that would make sense to me. Maybe it's a babyface tag team, kind of like War Machine and ROH. That would make sense to me. But I don't know, man. I just feel like Rowan to me is like so stale, and his work is the same. It's big and clunky, big guy. Bray made it look better. It was a decent match, but I gave it a C just because why? Like, I love watching Bray. I think Bray is one of the best things that's ever happened to wrestling in the past 15 years. But I don't like the way they're using him. I feel like they're trying to step him down but keep some heat on him, and that's not cool at all to me. I don't know.
He shouldn't be brought down. I agree that he should not be brought down. The closeness of that match should not have happened. It should have been a squash. I agree, to keep Bray looking strong. Nothing against Rowan. My biggest question is, why did this happen on SmackDown? Why did this not happen on Raw? Because if you've had him off of TV the previous week, why? You know what I mean? Like,
put this match on Raw and make it a squash. You could even put the vignette before it if you really want to, but put this match on Raw and make it a squash, and I get it, and it makes sense to me. On SmackDown and giving them time to have a match just to get Eric some shine, it's dumb booking. It's dumb.
And how much shine did Rowan really get?
None,
you know
really.
What I mean?
It just devalued Bray. It didn't make Eric Rowan look any better. It just devalued Bray.
I agree, because I feel the same way. I feel like Rowan won't go as far as the other two. It hurts me to say that I agree with you on Rowan should be gone. I wish he had a better character, but once again,
nothing against the guy as a man. I know he needs to make a living for him, but I mean, dude, he'd probably be better off in Ring of Honor or TNA, where they could use a bigger guy that's like that. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
What? Like, do him a favor, get rid of him. You know what I mean? Like,
right. Miz TV was the second to last part of the show.
Filler,
but go Mizdow. I'm just saying, it was.
I mean, having Summer Rae out there was just a way to get her on TV. There was no point in that to me. I know she was in Marine 4 and they put her on there. They didn't really have to do that. They just did it to give her some minutes. I understand that, but also it kind of cluttered. It kind of muddied the Mizdow situation. I would have rather him just see him actually get Mizdow out there in a chair and then just trade back and forth for 5 minutes. That to me would have been better than what they did. And I really feel like that would have been a great opportunity to have him out on Miz TV and then go back to being Sandow or Damian Sandow or just Damian or whatever he wants to be.
Right.
But he can't be Mizdow. He can't. Please, at least, I know you're probably going to run into the ground until Extreme Rules, but I'm really scared that they're going to put Miz over and he's going to keep Mizdow. Like, as in, like, they're going to put him over and then Mizdow's going to go back with his tail tucked between his legs and say, okay, you were right. I'm going to go back to doing the Mizdow gimmick and be in the stunt double, which will be entertaining, and that's something for him. But I hope that's not what they do, but I feel like that's probably what they're going to do.
I don't think they'll do that. I think that he'll keep the Mizdow thing until either the week before Extreme Rules or Extreme Rules, and then he'll come out. Or maybe once he beats Miz, he'll shed the Mizdow skin, and it'll be like his redemption or something like that. I hope for more. I like to see the bright side, so I'm hoping for that.
Yeah, see, I hope for more, but I see the WWE, I see the big machine, right, and I see that they're always going to let me down. So,
right, total Mark attitude.
Yeah,
the Teddy Long Classic closed out SmackDown, and after this match, I am at 100% positive that Ziggler and Sheamus and Bryan and Barrett will be stellar matches at Extreme Rules.
Yeah, they will. They'll be good.
I even put down here on Friday. I said I don't know where he's going next, but I swear I hope Roman Reigns does not go against Big Show again. and of course, now that we've talked about it, it seems like that's where they're going, and I want to put my head through a wall.
Yeah, I just said it. They let you down, man. They don't let you down all the time, but they let you down at least it's at least 50-50 with the WWE.
Right. A quick question for you about SmackDown, though. Have you noticed, and I know it's SmackDown, so maybe there's some pumped-in sound and editing, but even on Raw, have you noticed that since Mania is over, Reigns isn't getting booed as heavily as before?
Well, I don't think it's because I do think that on SmackDown specifically, not on Raw, but I do think on SmackDown they edit in crowd noise, like boos after somebody says something, because it's like right on cue. And then like they'll immediately start talking again, and like the crowd noise is all of a sudden really hushed. You know what I mean? Like I know, or like when the New Day first came out, that boo was definitely boosted audio too. You know what I mean? Like not that they weren't booing, but it was definitely boosted. Like, oh, here's a boo now. You know what I mean? Like I don't know, and I mean, I definitely think that they're doing that. But I don't think that they're using it. I don't think they were using it there.
I think that now that he's not going to be world champion, the heat is going to fade away from him, and they can do what we initially wanted them to do, and let Roman Reigns be that slow burning flame that climbs.
Well, plus,
to the top,
and he won a lot of marks over at WrestleMania. I mean, he won me over at WrestleMania. So like. I mean, if I would have been there, I wouldn't have booed him. I probably wouldn't have cheered him. I would have just kind of stood there and waited for the match to start. You know, like.
Yeah, I agree. Nah, man. When I'm at live shows, I'm a total fan. I'd have cheered. When I was at Raw, I cheered him at Raw. I didn't boo him, and he was working Big Show at the time. You know, so yeah. I mean, I'm a mark from my couch, but when I'm there. Just the atmosphere of it really gets you. You know, when you're live, the atmosphere gets you.
I understand. I'm still, but I don't know. I'm so cynical. Maybe it's from like doing a lot of rock shows and stuff too. So it's like, to me, it's like a show, even like going to like an arena and like seeing a wrestling show. It's still pretty similar to me for a packed rock show. So it's like, I don't know. I get, maybe I'm cynical, maybe I'm jaded, but it's like I still kind of stand there with my arms folded, and when there's a good spot, then I'll jump up and down and cheer. But when it's like, you know, just bad, I'm the guy that would just start like that really low, like lull, boring chant in the middle of like a talking segment just for no reason. That would be me. You know what I mean? Like
you're the classic concert goer where you stand in the crowd and you have your arms crossed and you're just like, yep, this is a show. Yeah,
sadly, I wasn't always like that, man. But after a decade of it, you get that way. But I stand by it's like, that's the thing too. I'm not necessarily judging. Like I always stand by the soundboard and like, so I can hear what, you know, the audio guy's hearing. So I get like the best mix. I don't ever like, dude, even on my favorite bands, I don't ever on the floor anymore. I don't want to be on the floor anymore. I don't want to be in all that crowded ruckus. Like I don't have any desire to be, I just want to hear it. I want to know what they sound like. And for me, like, I'm sure you as a musician too, like once you've written a few songs, like when you hear a song or when you watch something live, like, you break it down as it's happening. Like, okay, this is the verse. This verse part's cool. I like that guitar line. The drum beat is here. Cool. You're not like just listening to the song as like a normal consumer would. The same way we as marks don't watch a wrestling match the way someone, you know, you know, a kid would watch it. You know, like so that's why I'm jaded on my live experience with wrestling the same way I'm jaded on my live experience with music. You know what I mean? Because to me, they're one and the same, honestly.
Right, because as a mark, you don't watch a wrestling show. You watch this worker. You watch how this worker works. You watch how this worker talks. You watch the reaction for this worker. You break it down into so many subgroups, and that's what makes you a mark rather than a fan, I guess, is the way you would break that down. So a little bit of a fantasy style here. If you could have one main event for Extreme Rules, world title or not, what would it be? And who would they face?
It would be a ladder match for the world title, and it would be Dolph Ziggler and Rollins. I mean, I know that it's probably going to be some kind of gimmick match, and it's going to be Orton and Rollins, and I'm okay with that because honestly, Orton would be my number 2 over Bryan at this point, just because Bryan has the IC title, and I'm not ready yet for a champion versus champion match. Maybe soon. I hope it happens. Probably won't happen just because they're trying to value the IC title. And then if he loses, it doesn't really work. And then if he wins, they're going to have another tournament for the IC title. So, I mean, I get why they won't do that, but I would like to see it, But this, fantasy-wise, I would like to see Daniel Bryan Rollins. But to me, at Extreme Rules, I would like to see Ziggler Rollins in a ladder match and give them like 25 minutes. You know what I mean?
Right, because both guys notoriously are amazing workers in general, but both really ramp it up in ladder matches. I mean,
yes, neither one of them are afraid to take sick bumps, and I feel like they would probably take at least one together. You know what I mean? And that would be epic because we haven't seen we've seen huge bumps given in matches since the Money in the Bank ones, but I don't think we've seen a huge double bump since the RKO off the top of the ladders in the Money in the Bank match with CM Punk. That was probably the last both took a sick bump actual thing that's happened in a long time.
Yeah, except I mean, as fake as it looked from a mark standpoint, the double bump off the Hell in a Cell, Ambrose and Rollins, was pretty good for a storytelling standpoint. It just looked terrible.
I was good from a story. Yeah.
Yeah. For me, mine would be a world title too. Except, if I'm gonna go ladder match, I'm gonna bring everything. Just make it a full blown tables, ladders,
TLC.
chairs. Which they won't call it TLC. They'll call it an Extreme Rules match because TLC is a completely different pay-per-view. So, right. I'd settle for, your stereotypical Extreme Rules match. And for me, it's hard for me to not pick Brian, but your reasons stand still. I don't know. I'd like to see, maybe not this month, but maybe next Extreme Rules, if Rollins has the title, I'd like to see what Neville and Rollins could do, man. I've been high on Neville.
Yeah, Neville and Rollins would be good, but I don't think it'll be next pay-per-view. I think it'll be, months from now, which is okay.
No, not next pay-per-view. Next Extreme Rules, a year from
next
now.
year.
Yeah, a full year of build-up for Neville. You know what I mean? Don't let him win the Rumble or anything like that. Just a full year of build, and he's just a random contender after Mania. Yeah.
But and then you just touched on it, but having TLC as its own pay-per-view, and then having Extreme Rules as its own pay-per-view, and it being pretty much the same thing is really silly to me. What I think they should do, since TLC is pretty much, isn't it right before the Rumble? Isn't it the last show of the year before the Rumble?
It's the December pay-per-view.
Yeah, because the Rumble's in January. So I think that what they should do is, instead of having get rid of TLC altogether, make it just a match again and put it on Extreme Rules. And instead of having TLC, they should have King of the Ring again, and the winner of King of the Ring gets number 30 in the Royal Rumble. I think that would be a smart way to do it, and I think everybody would kind of mark out to have King of the Ring return, even if it was just 1 year. You know what I mean? And do it number 30, because we know there's not going to be a part-timer that's going into number 30 this year. So I think if they did King of the Ring and the winner of King of the Ring got number 30 in the Royal Rumble, that would be badass to me.
They did King of the Ring in 2009? Didn't Sheamus win the last King of the Ring?
Yeah, I think he did.
Yeah, I thought so too, because I remember he came out with the big red cape and the Irish, the Celtic crown and crap. I remember all that.
I missed the King of the Ring, man. I loved it.
I've loved the King of the Ring tournament. I'd love to see it back. And see, you could get rid of TLC like that. I'd be fine. If they get rid of TLC, they need to drop Battleground altogether.
Yeah, I agree.
Because Battleground is that one where you have your pay-per-view and then there's only 3 weeks until Battleground. So you have 2 Raws or 3 Raws to build it.
Yeah, they should just give where the Battleground would be and put more promotion into a takeover and have that be an NXT thing.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That's all I've got, for the week, man. Anything else on your end?
Well, I did catch Ring of Honor. I'll just kind of skim through the results on that. Because Supercard 9 is coming up. I'm pretty sure it's this week. So I'm actually pretty stoked on that. Michael Elgin worked Will Ferreira, and Ferreira looked pretty good. They both looked pretty good, but it was pretty much a squash match. Elgin, just looks like a huge guy. War Machine made their return to Ring of Honor, and they just beat up some local kids. It was a straight squash. They didn't even try to hide that. And then immediately after the War Machine match, Elgin comes out, says, "I'm not done yet." can pretty much cut a promo on Nigel McGuinness saying that he needs to punish Ring of Honor. And one of the funniest things was he's on the mic and he walks out and he says, I'm not done yet, and everybody boos. He's like, blah, 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 Nigel McGuinness, and so I'm going to have to punish Ring of Honor. And you could hear one of the fans yell, "By wrestling again tonight?" And it was amazing. I lost it. I laughed my ass off on the couch. It was awesome. And so it actually ended up happening. I was like, what? Like, so he ends up having a handicap match with the War Machine, and just, I think 2 or 3 minutes into it, he grabs a chair and it's a DQ and he's hitting them both. And it just seemed weird. There was a Samoa Joe commercial, which was really awesome. Just him, being Samoa Joe and stoked to be in Ring of Honor. I guess he's working out these last few dates before he goes to WWE. And then they had the commercial for Supercard 9, and Jay Briscoe cut an awesome promo for their world title match. QT Marshall versus ACH. I don't really know a lot about these guys, so I didn't have a lot invested in their storyline, but it was an A overall as far as a match. Decade comes out, though, and says that, ACH doesn't deserve his opportunities that he's getting, and Adam Page does. They beat him down. Classic, Southern-style wrestling, little segment in the ring. And then Mark Briscoe comes out and cuts a promo on AJ Styles for his main event match that night. And Mark Briscoe both the Briscoe brothers are amazing workers, but Jay is so much smarter. Like, he's just a better guy on the mic. He looks better, which sounds weird because they're twins, but I'm glad that he's the guy that has the title. Now, I've seen their matches together, and it was great. The match that was on this past week's TV with AJ Styles versus Briscoe was really, really, really good. Mark Briscoe straight up is a really small, kind of a Bruiser Brody meets Mick Foley type thing. He does a lot of mixed moves. I know it's homage to him. He does the moonsault running off the apron to the guy on the ground. He delivered sitting on the top turnbuckle off the second one from the ground to the concrete elbow. Big Cactus Jack moves. So it was good. A+. Styles went over clean with the clash. I'm actually pretty excited about Supercard 9. So I'll definitely have more next week to talk about as far as the big show for Ring of Honor there. But overall, as my grade for this week in wrestling for the WWE, I give it about a B-, maybe a C+. It was a little bit above average, but I feel like they're already losing way too much steam after Mania, and that kind of scares me, considering they're having a lot of viewers right now, but the programming is not very good. So that's my week, man. B-, C+. And I'll be stoked to get back on next week and go over it next week.
Yeah, I agree. I'm on the same page as you when I say that it's at least a C+, still slightly above average. SmackDown made up for a good bit of the lulls in Raw, and NXT, even though it was a recap of the week of Mania, the matches themselves were just good enough work to really boost that grade up a bit. So I say at least a C+ up to a solid B. It's not an A, by any means. It's not stellar, but it's sadly what we've come to expect from the big machine. But that's going to be it for us over here at Mouth of the Mark with a week in wrestling. Make sure to follow us on social media at facebook.com/Mouth of the Mark. We're on Twitter at Mouth of the Mark. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel. Y'all have a good week. We'll be back next time.
Peace.